So I reiterate here, the bill is dead.
The story of this great city is about the years before this night. We are free!
Hey everyone, this is Ho Ho Hong Kong with me, Vivek Mahbubani, and today there is no Mo, which means the quality just upgraded by 200%. But instead I have myself a guest coming all the way from Singapore, which means he was just 4 and something hours away from Hong Kong. It is Jacky Ng, or Jacky Ng, depending on which way you want to say it.
I usually say
Ng, yeah.
Yes,
We'll be respectful on this podcast and call you Jacky Ng, just for the sake of it.
You just call me Jacky. You don't have to say my last name every single
Mr.
time.
Ng. So Jacky, just in case you missed out, he actually came to Hong Kong, did his headline show at Base Hall just a couple of days before we recorded, part of the backstage headliner show nights. Secondly, Mohammed, however, after seeing the show, probably for some reason decided I don't want to hang with Jacky anymore. He's like, guy, I got what I needed him for. Why are we still talking?
He's done the show. I haven't paid him, so he can go roam Hong Kong now.
Exactly. You figure it out now. Help my GDP, then we'll talk about helping your GDP as well.
Yes,
but
right.
Jacky, just gives everybody a bit of background. You based in Singapore, obviously,
That's right, yeah.
and I've known you for many, many years because, of course, when we have the Singapore scene, what would happen is a lot of times I would come down there to do shows on a weekday or whatever, and we'll meet the Singapore crew. You're one of them, and I believe in the last year or 2 years ago, you came down to Melbourne as well.
Yeah.
For the Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
Yeah, so that was the first time I met you in Melbourne. Because my first time in Melbourne was 2 years ago.
Exactly, yeah. So we met up, and I believe you didn't have your show at the time. However, you did something a lot of Hong Kong comedians don't do, which is you actually decided, I'm going to go there purely for educational purposes and go check out how the Melbourne Comedy Festival is.
Yeah, so Jason Leong was the guy that really encouraged us to do that. He was just like, come down to Melbourne, he'll give us his a crew pass.
Yes.
Right?
And the crew pass means you can watch any show as long as there are empty seats.
Exactly, yeah. And that is, honestly, that is just so valuable.
Oh,
like if a comedian, if you just show up and you just have that pass, you feel so powerful.
Absolutely.
Because there's just so many amazing shows to watch.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it's not like there is no stage time. As long as you're hanging out, stage time comes your way because it's such a massive festival.
Yeah.
There's 600 shows happening throughout the month.
It's insane.
And you get 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's a great time. So you should really. You're saying no, none of the Hong Kong comedians are doing this.
They haven't flown themselves down or just to go check it out. I've offered like the crew passes, but I understand Hong Kong rent is very high, blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Fair enough, yeah.
But yeah, that hasn't happened much there. However, was there is the Singapore comedy scene something encouraging where you're like, man, I want to go explore this place, or did you go to Australia just because you're closer to Australia than Hong Kong is to Australia? Like what made you want to go other than Jason Leong telling you, hey, I'm famous?
Jason Leong told me to do that. I'm like, okay. And I think when we first start out doing comedy, we hear about the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and you're like, I like to check it out sometimes.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Right, and it's just, and so when the opportunity came up, I have enough money saved up that I can afford to go on this trip. I found out I have friends living in Melbourne, so I can crash on it.
I like how you like. I found out I have friends living in Melbourne. It's like, I realized, not I connected with. I found out. Oh shit! I have friends over there.
Yeah, that some of my friends.
That's usually not the order of things that happen. Usually you have friends who happen to be there. Not I found out I have friends who are there.
Well, in Singapore, you go through school, you go to NS, the army.
Yeah.
And then, so over time, you just lose track of all of them.
Ah, that's very true, yeah.
And then you go on Instagram and you're like, oh, this guy's actually here. Same thing happened in Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah?
Like when we started promoting for the show here, I have Singaporean friends from the army. They was like, oh, you're coming to Hong Kong? I'm like, what, you're living in Hong Kong? I was like, yeah, I've been here since COVID. I'm like, oh, that's where you were. That's because I haven't seen you since the army and things like that. So, yeah, and so with Melbourne, when I found out my friend was there, he was like, yeah, come and live on my floor. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
Whatever, man. If it's going to save me some rent, why not, right?
Exactly.
It's just the flat surface I need, to be honest with you.
Exactly. Because honestly, flights to Melbourne from Singapore are fairly affordable if you fly on Scoot.
Yeah. All right. So for anybody, now we have some listeners who are a bit, let me put it this way, they're a bit classy.
Okay.
Like as in they're like Scoot, as in like get away from me.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so yes, that is one of the budget airlines that all comedians in Asia have at some point flown, whether you think you're famous or not, because you must understand the Asian promoter will tell you it is not about your fame level. I will fly you on Scoot.
Yep.
And you will only find out when you're about to get to the airport and be like, shit, it's a Scoot
It's a
flight?
Scoot
Ah,
flight.
man.
It's a Scoot flight. But
Yeah.
sometimes Scoot will put you on a Singapore Airlines flight.
Yeah, right?
Once in a while.
Yeah,
right?
every now and then. Now, this is the question I've always had. So if you're a Scoot passenger, you bought a Scoot flight with a Scoot pay,
Yep.
and they upgrade you to Singapore airline plane,
Yep.
do you get the food included?
I think so.
You do, right?
Because I think once you're on a Singapore Airlines
They don't
plane,
care,
they
right?
don't
They're-
care anymore. Yeah.
So I believe they can't do it the other way. You can't be a Singapore airline guy and like, what the hell am I on Scoot?
Yeah, then you get dropped to Scoot.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
food.
yeah.
You'd be like, even with food, you'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah, like, are you serious, dude? There was a reason I bought Singapore airline, man.
Exactly,
You know,
yeah.
you can't be doing this shit to me.
But they are like a sister airline,
Yes, yes, yes.
right? So yeah, they work together. And if you fly Singapore Airlines regularly and you're like trying to chalk up your miles and stuff like that, you get miles on Scoot as well.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
So yeah, and sometimes they actually kind of encourage you to do that. Like on this trip, my girlfriend and I, we flew out to China on Scoot, but we were flying back on Singapore Airlines.
Yeah.
And then they actually gave us some bonus miles.
Oh, because you
for
went on
that.
Scoot and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so
they were like, yeah, thanks for.
supporting.
Support.
Yeah, like most people will be like, wait, you could afford Singapore Airlines, so we see one leg of your flight to do Singapore, but yet you chose not to. Well, I just want to say, good on you, man. You know, however you diversified your funds and everything, good on you, dude. We needed that. We needed that to happen.
We just. I also, full disclosure, this is the first podcast I'm doing as a engaged man.
Oh, hey,
Right.
there we go with the announcements
Yeah, just-
out already.
yeah, just-
Tell everybody how the great Jimmy Ng decided. Sorry, Jimmy. Oh my God, Jacky Ng, dude! It is way too late, man. Like it is very rare we record the podcast like at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
However,
Jimmy is on his way to Hong Kong too. You
He's
should try and
already
get-
here. He's already here.
Oh, you should get
Yeah.
him. Try and get him here.
hey, Mr. Jimmy.
Yang?
Yeah, Yang. If you ever have a chance, I'll give you. You know what? I'll let you have 10 minutes over here. yeah. I will allow you.
Come into this beautiful studio.
Yeah,
Check it out
yeah.
for yourself, Jimmy.
I'll let you plug your show if you need to. I mean, you sold out 5 shows, but maybe the 6th one you can't really sell tickets. You never
Yeah.
know. No, but okay. So as an engagement, we're gonna go there. All right. I was gonna let you let the cat out of the bag for that one. So tell us everything. You decided to come to Hong Kong to do a headliner show. Now, how much of that headliner show was actually like, look, I need a reason to be in Hong Kong. I need to do this thing that I want to do on a Sunday in a specific place, but I don't want to fly myself there without making some money. Can I somehow, because let's be honest, okay? After doing comedy enough, when you travel a lot, every time you go somewhere, you're like, oh, maybe I could just book like
You can-
a gig and get the flight covered, and then I just go travel on my own,
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had that foresight, but it was the other way around. When Muhammad, or when I somehow, it was actually through Chrissy in
Yeah,
Malaysia.
Chrissy, yeah.
Right? She was like, oh, you want to go and do this show in Hong Kong? And then they put me in touch with Muhammad, and then he gave me the date.
Yes.
And then it was close enough to my my now
And it-
fiance's birthday. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to Hong Kong. And she's like, oh my God, we can go to Disneyland. I'm like, yeah, let's go to Disneyland. And then she took like a long leave from work
Yeah.
so that we could also go to China and everything. And then so we in Singapore, if you want to buy a house,
Yes.
you have to be married.
Yeah, I heard that, right? So if you're married, it's beneficial for like property purchasing and stuff like that. Yeah, okay.
So the joke in Singapore is you don't propose to your partner. You just ask if you want to apply for a flat
Yeah,
together. Right?
yeah.
And we have applied for the flat. We have a flat coming in 3 years' time.
All right.
Um,
Wait, hold on a second. When we talk flats in Hong Kong, we can't just say I have a flat. I have to get specifics. Do they tell you, like when you apply for a flat over there, do you get to choose, I wanted this size flat with that number of rooms and everything? All right, so what have you got? Like, what's the number? Like,
have
here
a
in Hong Kong.
we have a 4-room flat.
Oh,
So that's 3 bedrooms.
Oh my God. First of all, hold on a second. Let's take a step back, Jackie. A 4-room or 4-bedroom.
So the hall is considered
Okay, that's
a
one.
room.
Okay.
And so we have 3 bedrooms.
Kitchen.
Yep,
So
kitchen.
hall kitchen is 2.
No, the kitchen is not counted in the
Oh,
room.
okay. Oh, look at you, Singaporeans. Like, oh, this is not a room to us. Here in Hong Kong, like anything that has like 3 walls at least, we're like, yeah, it's a room, dude. Take it, man. Like even right now, like this little room, this is technically supposed to be the kitchen
Oh,
of this flat.
right.
This was actually the original designated kitchen area.
Fair enough.
We
yeah.
decided to switch it up and make it as our little mini studio / like writing desk / hanging of the clothes.
Yeah.
For like on a wet day.
You say writing desk, but there's no way you can do writing.
Oh no,
on
I
this.
haven't had
Just-
ever since Australia. I haven't sat at that
right.
at all. This is okay.
There's a lot of pens on that desk. You can't
exactly
see
a lot
it,
of
but it's
pens.
just a lot of
It's,
pens.
it's
on
the
that
potential writing desk.
Fair enough. Yeah.
The potential energy over there is very high. The kinetic
it's
energy very low.
low, but
Yeah.
high
right.
potential, yes.
So okay,
Yeah.
so 4 rooms. Do you get to choose which area?
Yeah, so what they do is they'll be like, okay, there are some flats coming up in this area, this area, this area, this
Oh,
area.
so they get like the.
And then
oh,
you
it's
can
like
apply for this area. And each time you apply, it'll be like $10.
Oh, okay, yeah, handling
Right.
fee, right? So you don't just
What?
apply for 20 different
Exactly.
places, yeah.
Yep.
So do you get to do like because like this sounds like one of those like multi-layered pyramid schemes.
Okay,
Then
yeah.
like like they we got this one. This is the new thing in the hot on the block. Everybody, come on here and apply. Somewhere.
So our flat, so like the property market in Singapore, it's going the way of Hong Kong.
Okay.
It's not as bad.
Yeah.
But it is rising
People are just buying
quite
just to
crazy.
invest and-
and
yeah.
people are just flipping it and so our flat, like it's like a new thing by the government. They've launched this thing called the prime location flats.
Oh, nice, okay.
So this is the first prime location flat the government has launched in Singapore. And the old flats, you have a minimum occupancy period of 5 years. So people would just
yeah,
flip
you can't
it
flip
after
it, right?
5
Yeah,
years.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay, yeah.
for
That's-
our case, our flat minimum occupancy period is 10 years.
oh, are you allowed to rent it out though?
We can rent out bedrooms. We can't rent out the whole unit.
Oh,
So what actually some people do is they just
Airbnb it?
They just lock the master bedroom and then they rent out the whole unit. That's what
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's technically one room that they still
they do.
living
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
Ah, wow. First of all, I really appreciate the fact that you have a different problem that we do,
Uh-huh.
where you're like, I got too many rooms. I got to rent something. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this room. We
But
have so many rooms. You can rent the place out and still lock one room
Yeah.
and be like, this is a very feasible space.
Some people rent out the bedrooms to try and help cover the mortgage. To pay for the mortgage. Right? Which is
But
what
then-
my parents did when they first got married.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people here as well. They'll buy a flat and then the mortgage and they use the rent to cover the mortgage.
Mm.
But this again comes back to the question: is that where the hell do they? Let's say they rent that place for the mortgage.
Mm.
Where do they stay?
So they can live in the master bedroom.
Oh,
Right. So if they are locked, if they lock,
Yeah.
then they. Or sometimes people are just rich. Like if their parents,
they have like 2 flats.
their
and, like,
parents
yeah.
are living in a nice big bungalow, but it is the right of every Singaporean that if you get married, you can go and apply for a public flat.
Yeah, I've heard of those snobs that have like say 2 flats in the same building.
Exactly.
And they're just separated by a lift and stuff, and you're gonna go visit and stuff like that. Those are assholes, dude. Everyone on the podcast knows that now.
Once in a
right?
while, yeah.
All right, okay. So let me understand this because this is very fascinating to me. I know we probably tuned out 20 other people who are like,
For
we don't
sure.
need to know about master bedrooms.
Uh-huh.
Now the question is, you lock yourself in the master bedroom, right? You can rent the rest of the flat out.
Yep.
How do you leave?
You-
Fire escape?
No, you can just go through the main door. What's wrong with just
No,
going
but
through the main
master
door?
bedroom can't be connected to the main door directly. There must be like a hallway or something.
Yeah, you can just walk out the main door. Why?
But then, like, you're renting the space to someone else. They're like, what the hell? Like, why are you in my hallway?
Yeah. But
It's like an understood thing.
it's like an understood thing.
That's so weird, man.
But also,
Oh
I think
my
most
God.
times they are like old people and they don't really leave. And if you're in the master bedroom, you have a toilet.
that's
like
true.
Old people.
Now, the question is this. When they do get, let's say, Food Panda or delivery service and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
does the delivery person have to go all the way to the master bedroom? To get like 5 stars, or like, hey, you didn't walk all the way here. I'm not
Yeah.
going to the door for that shit.
I guess if you leave a comment to tell him to come into the master bedroom,
That's so
then he
weird, man.
better do that.
Oh
yeah.
man, like you have like a yellow line for the yellow line, the green line is for the son, the red line for the daughter.
Yeah.
Wow, this is bizarre, man. I've never heard like someone who well, fair enough. I mean, if you like you said, if you're old enough, you would say, look, I'll leave my house maybe 3
Yeah.
times a week max.
I've also seen people that they convert the hall into the master bedroom.
Okay.
So they will put a bed in there in front of the TV.
okay.
And then they put like maybe just install like a plastic sliding door.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then this is where the master of the house is living in. And then they
Yes.
cut up the rest of the room
Yeah.
into many tiny
Cubicle
bed,
kind of
bed
yeah.
spaces.
Oh yeah, because like we have some of those here in Hong Kong where they
Yeah.
take that main house and they cut it up enough where everyone's got their own door. So it's like as if it's another apartment.
But the door just leads to another person's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, so what it is that here, I believe there's what we call like the Tong Fong. Is like they take your apartment, okay, and then they redesign the lining of the walls. So you enter your door, and then you enter like a little hall, just like you would. Let's say, imagine you come out of a hotel lift.
Yep.
You know, you have that hallway.
Ah, right.
So you have like
yes.
3 rooms.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They divided the space into three rooms.
It's actually just a bed when you open the door. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah, one of those. Yeah. So a lot of those where like, I just have my space, man. It's good enough. I have one small window. I'll take it.
Yeah, like when I was still living with my parents, I would be happy to be like, yeah, if I can just get out of my parents' place and just live in a bed, like I'll be happy to do that.
That's true. You just want that your own space, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, totally understand that. But the good thing is that Jacky has gone to the point now that he no longer has to try to afford that one bedroom space.
Yeah.
You know, he now is in the pathway to property ownership,
to home ownership. That's right.
home ownership.
Yep.
For 10 years.
For 10 years.
Yeah, well, I'll own it for 10 years, fine, whatever. I have to do that. However, let's take a step back to how you even got to this place now, having this ability to do these things, for example, coming to Hong Kong, owning homes, proposing to girlfriends and not getting rejected, stuff like that, right?
You're right. Yes.
Let's go to the originals. Okay. So Singapore comedy, let's be honest, worldwide, it is not exactly one of those you got to do Singapore comedy, you got to go there, right?
Yeah.
However, recently I have noticed that Singapore comedy has grown a lot, as in the homegrown talent has grown so much that when you travel the world and you will see less people like yourself, let's say Faz, like Faz and everything, representing and traveling the world internationally to do shows.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about the Singapore comedy scene, where it was, because I remember Singapore comedy was more like, let's say, Comedy Masala.
Yeah.
I'll fly on a Tuesday morning on Tiger Airways.
That's right.
Right, I remember that one. Oh my god, man! And then arriving there, do the show, fly on Wednesday, I'm out. It was one of those 24 hours in, that's it.
Yeah.
And that was the scene.
I think that's actually the strength of us being in Asia.
Yeah.
That we are well connected enough and flights don't take that long that you could do that, right? Like it's less than 24 hours. You could do a show and be back home.
Yeah.
But the Singapore scene has grown quite a bit, I would say. Before COVID, have you ever been to the Mary Lion in Singapore?
No, I have not been to the Mary Lion. No.
So the Mary Lion was the first full-time club that we had, but it shut down during COVID. And then today we have a new comedy club called the Lemon Stand.
Lemon Stand, I heard about that one.
Which is, I think, it's around for 2.5 years now.
All
maybe?
I heard about from everyone is that the spotlight is too bright.
The spotlight's too bright.
That's all I've heard. Everyone's like, Lemon Stand, you got to do the show. But dude, I'm going to tell you now, man.
Spotlight's
you're going to
really
leave that
bright.
room and you're going to have that black spot in your eyes. I'm like, what? Why do I have a black spot in my eyes? The spotlight's too bright. I'm like, what is it with the spotlight, dude? Did we not have a dimmer? What's going on over here?
The spotlight is very bright. The owner of the club, God bless him, he's a lovely man, and he books shows and he actually sells them out these days, right?
Enough,
but he's a stubborn man, and he doesn't really like to take our advice on when we tell him to turn down the light. But other than that, it's still a pretty good room. And now I think he's actually pumped in so much money with marketing that when you Google for comedy in Singapore, he's number one.
Wow, that is
There's
impressive.
a lot of money to pay Google.
But
and
that's a
Facebook
good thing,
and stuff.
if you're for example, anyone that says comedy and you're the first thought, this is it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that if you read any of those business books, they say you need to be the first association people have with that item, then you've won.
Yeah. And Singapore is a tiny market.
Yeah.
Right, so he's essentially done that. But so now in Singapore we have that. We have Masala still going strong.
Yeah.
We also have East Coast comedy. And that happens every
I love
Friday
it.
and
I
Saturday.
must say, Singapore being so small.
Yeah.
But we're from the East Coast. It's buddy, you're 20 minutes away. Relax. I could walk there within an hour.
It is, but I would say it's actually a very different vibe if you do a comedy show in the East and a comedy show in the West in Singapore. It is a tiny country, but people are still different.
I can just imagine in the show in the East, man, back in the West, we wouldn't do it that way. It's wait, we're back in the West, what?
They will talk shit. They'll be like, fuck those people in Jurong in the West.
Oh yeah,
They will
for
talk
sure.
shit like that.
Oh yeah, it's like Hong Kong with Kowloon side, It's oh, you went to Kowloon, there, one of those things. Yeah. There's a lot of those where people are like, oh, I would never cross. Why would I need to?
Right. I mean, growing up, I guess the example is football. People are like, why the fuck does Singapore have a professional league? When we are 40 minutes east to west, what's the difference between this place and that place? But actually, there is some kind of minute differences in the way people just see things, and it's interesting. If you do have the time, next time you come to Singapore and you have more than 24 hours before you have to come back.
Yeah.
I could take you around and you could see the different sides of Singapore.
I'll be honest with you, I can imagine that because here in Hong Kong, that's actually one of the things when I go to schools, I talk to kids and I say, honestly, different areas of Hong Kong is a completely different vibe. I have this whole joke about how I'm taking the train, and as the train stops change, the racism differs as well. You get it?
Right.
They look at you oh, this guy must be doing this. 3 stations later, oh, you must be doing that.
Right.
It just changed. This year, I go from Central, they're like, oh, this guy's a banker. Okay, 5 stations later, oh, this guy's, he's construction site. I'm like, wait, what? I didn't do shit. But the So
the tram.
and I believe that's same with Singapore. Like once you
Yeah.
go in a few stations, like all right, this area, oh for sure,
It's
you're
kinda
gonna feel it.
different.
Yeah,
You
you
can
have
feel
that.
it. Yeah.
Now the thing though is that I do remember like Singapore having a lot of comedians, and a lot of the comedy was more about Singapore, Malaysians, Indians, Chinese, and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have noticed though that the more seasoned comedians are doing less of that.
Yeah.
I feel would you say it's the evolution of Asian comedy or even Singapore comedy in general? Because like I feel maybe over there every open micer does that, right?
Yeah.
It's a typical, hey, this is my Indian friend, right? He does it. It's like we get it. That's an open mic level.
Yeah.
Do you find like I saw your set at Base Hall as well?
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do just with your general daily life. Have
Yeah.
you found the maturity that you have as a comedian? Did that come from because you traveled and let's say went to Melbourne and saw all these different comedians? You're like, oh, okay, so it's not just about like Indian people, Chinese people, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, just telling your life. I get it.
Yeah.
Was it that, or did you outgrow it? Like for me, I remember I kind of outgrew where I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to still keep talking about, oh, I'm Indian, I speak Cantonese. Like, really, I'm still doing that?
Right,
Like
right.
that's way overdone. Like, what's happening with my life as well? What do you think?
I think for me, like even starting out, I've never felt super comfortable talking about race.
Okay.
Because like as a Chinese in Singapore, like I'm the majority race. So
Yeah.
if I'm talking about the Indians and the Malays, then I'm kind of like punching down.
Yeah.
So it is a bit more. I mean, it's not that I don't do it at all, but I've
Yeah.
never been super comfortable doing that. I've always just felt more comfortable talking about myself, my family, my observations.
Yeah.
But it's nice that when I start traveling, then these jokes actually translate much easier.
Yeah, because
when
it's
I travel.
storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to if I was talking about some very specific race nuances in Singapore that maybe can crush really hard in Singapore, it's just harder for people to accept when you're, especially in like a Western country like Melbourne.
Yeah.
People would really pull back at things like that.
I gotta ask you this, yo. When you went to Melbourne the first time and watched shows, and when you did like spots over there,
Yeah.
did you get the cultural shock? I wouldn't say cultural shock, but like more of the shock of like the level of political correctness. We're like, whoa, okay, whoa, this isn't okay. We're not allowed to go there, or like you won't go there, or you feel awkward about that. Because like my first time ever, I'll be honest with you, when I went to the U.S. and I did shows at the Laugh Factory, I was coming from Hong Kong, and all I knew was like, so Indian, right? I'm here, right? And over there, I remember, like, I think I was doing the funniest person in the world competition. Richard Lewis was one of the judges.
Uh-huh.
All right, and now I'm like, oh my God, it's Richard Lewis. Oh, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I went up there, I did some joke. I had this joke in the beginning. I'm like, oh, I'm Indian. I'm not. What was it? I'm not. Indian. I'm Indian, right? Right? Now here in Asia and stuff,
It's fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious, right? Dude, I went there and I went on there. I believe I opened with that, and I remember seeing Richard Lewis' face go like, right?
Right, okay.
And I was like, does he not get it? Like, this is America. They should get it even more.
Right, yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly,
I'm not
yeah.
like, don't you know the Indians that you guys took over and everything? And then later on, as I grew and I went to Melbourne, I was like, oh, in this world, they're like, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah. Well, with Melbourne, like, so I don't have that much experience in the West, right? It's really
Yeah.
just Melbourne, and I've been to Perth this year.
Yeah.
So this year Melbourne was interesting because I got to host a show out in Collingwood.
Oh, okay.
There's the
okay.
suburbs, and it's all white people, right? And I think they're actually less politically correct the further you get out from the city.
Yeah. No one's
Right.
trying to be too proper over there. They're like,
Yeah.
aren't Chinese people this way? You know?
Yeah. So in the city is where it's really, I guess people are more
They're a bit-
cautious about how
yeah.
they're perceived.
Yeah.
But once you start getting into the suburbs, it's not as sensitive. So it's interesting that way that even in a place that we think, you have to be PC, there are still places where different types of comedy can thrive.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Whereas I think in Asia, because the scene is still so young, where I think we all kind of look at comedy and we think like, okay, there is a certain set of rules that we have to abide by.
Yeah.
And that's how we progress as a scene. But I think we're hoping that we can get to a point where any type of comedy, any type of comedian can find their own space to thrive, and then as a whole we can all grow together as comedians.
I think that's the one thing I've learned over time is that you may grow as a comedian, but there's still an audience who may be newcomers.
Yeah.
Just like, let's say, a wine drinker, you're always going to have the bunch of people who just want to get drunk.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So like, and you're like, why would you waste this wine just to get drunk? Like, that's what I want. You know. So in the same with comedy, no matter how you grow, and I've noticed this like over the years, that when I see comedians, I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I get the joke. La la la. However, there's always going to be an audience who's like, that is so funny.
Yeah.
I've never, oh my God, that's genius. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
that is like such a hack.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
such a hacky joke. But yeah, there's that as well. Do you, how do you quality control yourself in general now that you've traveled more? And also, would you say you have to represent Singapore a bit as well when you're traveling and doing shows around? Like, do you feel that pressure?
I don't feel the pressure, but it is something that I would like to do.
Yeah.
Right,
Represent Singapore or up your game?
I don't know about I don't know about representing Singapore, but like my first exposure to stand up is me watching all these American comedians.
Yeah.
Right, and I learned so much about American culture listening to them, and so when I had the opportunity to do stand up, then it feels to me like I should try and show the world Singaporean culture through my stand-up.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to do as much as I can. I think a lot of comedians in Singapore, they get very self-conscious. They be like, why would anyone in America want to
about Singapore?
But that's what people that watch comedy is watching you for.
Yeah.
Right? No, like nobody's watching you to try and pretend to be an American.
Yeah.
If somebody's coming out to watch you as a Singaporean comedian or a Hong Kong comedian, then they want to hear about what Hong Kong is like. They want to hear about what Singapore is like. And I think that is something that we should be more proud of and try to push, as opposed to trying to emulate some kind of comedian that you idolize.
Yeah, true. I mean, like, that would be quite silly, like being a cover band, you know? It's like, we don't really need cover band comedians. Although there are many cover band comedians who say stuff, you're like, I know you're probably heavily influenced by that person, but that's literally their joke.
Exactly.
Literally said the exact same joke. It doesn't work that way over here.
Yeah.
Okay, now, let's understand a few more things. So Singapore comedy scene's grown a lot. Would you say now you are at that point where the new kids in Singapore, they coming on to the comedy scene like, oh my God, that's Jacky Ng. That's Jacky Ng. Oh my God.
Some of them do that. But I try. I'm in the same green room as them. We're in the same backstage. And if they're talking to me, I'm not trying to like.
Yeah, be like,
them or
be like, guys, keep it down, okay? Keep it down, all right?
I mean, but sometimes they come up to me and they be like, hey, do you have some advice?
Yeah.
And what the fuck do you want me to say?
Oh, yeah. That's the hardest, man.
Just get funny.
Just be funny. The audience will tell you if you're good or not. That's all.
Exactly.
You know? I can't tell you how to improve it. Let them tell you how to improve it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Now, let's take a few things, because I'm very curious, because we've known each other for long enough now that we've seen each other as, you could even be like amateur level or semi-professional level, to the point that now I could say that we are strong enough comedians that we can create our destiny in our careers, right? So in other words, like, same for you, is that technically you have the power to be flown or even go overseas to do shows. Hence why you have the power to create your destiny. Now, whether you create it or not, that's secondary. And also whether or not other people approve of your destiny is another point.
Yeah.
Okay? However, now that you have that freedom or ability to create it, what is usually the driving force for you as a comedian to, travel the world, do shows? What's the motivator? Because, like, a lot of, I'm sure every newspaper interview is like, so, how do you find your inspiration? But I'm not about inspiration. I don't care about that, because, like, that's anywhere, right? Everyone's like, you just daily life, right?
Yeah.
But what is the drive to keep doing? Is it peer pressure? You see, like, oh, he's doing that, I better do something like that as well. Is it ego, where you're like, I want to show these new kids, I'm the shit, Is it fear? For example, like, oh my God, if I don't do it, I'm going to be forgotten. I better, get my shit straight. Or is it simply trying to, like, I don't know, like the fourth option or whatever it is for yourself?
Well, this is what I love to do. It's my favorite thing to do. Going on stage, doing stand-up. I've tried, doing improv, and it's kind of fun. But I don't really like sharing the stage with anyone else.
I've been saying this to everybody. I'm very selfish on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is what I love to do. But I guess there's a big part of me that's also afraid that if this doesn't work out, if I don't get to travel as much doing this, or I don't get paid as much doing this, then I'm gonna have to go back into the office.
Yeah.
Right. I was working in a content company during COVID.
Oh.
And the moment COVID ended and we could fly, I was like, I'm fucking done with this. I don't want to. I just don't want to do this anymore. And so there's a big part of me that's like, oh, if this doesn't work out, then I'm gonna have to go back into working for someone.
Yeah.
And that is just not.
I don't think you can ever go back, man. That's the one thing I think as a comedian, now that you've experienced this and also you've seen the world, you're like, yeah. Because I think this is the one freedom that, like Jerry Seinfeld once said, right? Stand-up comedy is kind of being on a surfboard, where it's just you and the waves.
Yeah.
And once you've experienced that, it's really hard to go back to a big boat
Yeah.
You have to deal with like the captain and
Yeah.
this, that. You're like, I want to go surf now.
Yeah.
You know, and just the idea that you can create your own destiny.
Mm.
You know, that's the beauty of stand-up comedy is like, well, write a show and do a show. That's it.
Yeah,
You
try
know,
and sell some tickets.
Yeah, sell some tickets. That's pretty much it. Someone will buy it, whether
Yeah.
or not it's the enough numbers to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Is secondary.
Yeah.
But you have that. But what's the downtime, Jackie? Like, what's you generally on a daily basis? Like, for example, right? Mo always makes the joke about how I'm like a psycho with work, where I will keep myself busy.
Right.
You know, like I will not be saying like, oh, you know what? I'll take a day off. Like a day off. The hell you mean day off? You know.
Right.
So what's the downtime you? Because it usually what I find is when I talk to comedians that the downtime version of them correlates to their style of comedy.
Right.
So, for example, with myself, is that a lot of my comedy is like high energy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this and that happened over there. I'm going to lose my shit and everything.
Right.
But that's because that's my downtime. Me, I'm losing my shit when I'm in my downtime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going some places.
Yeah, yeah.
What about yourself? Like, what's your downtime version of Jackie?
I like to think I'm pretty chill.
Yeah.
You know, actually, this year when I was in Melbourne, in the house that I was living in, like I mentioned, it's my friend's house, but my friend wasn't in Melbourne. He was back in Singapore, but I was living in his house.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. So you are one of two things. You're either like those renters in Singapore when the master bedroom's locked, or you're the equivalent to like a ghost haunting his house. Isn't it? Like, technically, yeah, right?
Kind of, but also, so he had another guy living in the house, but the other guy was actually living in a van behind the house.
Whoa, hold on. This is in Melbourne.
This was in Melbourne.
Dude, this is so Melbourne right there.
It's yes.
I'm against the system. I don't want to. No,
Yeah.
I don't know the accent.
But this guy is 60 years old.
Oh.
And he's ripped. He's fucking ripped. And he wakes up in the morning. He does 100 push-ups.
Okay. Okay.
He does more than 100 push-ups. He does like some calisthenic workout and shit like that.
Yes.
And so I was living there with him for the whole month. And he's influenced me. So now I at least I wake up in the morning. I do 100 push-ups.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
I do 100 push-ups like in 3 sets. Maybe like 40, 35, 25.
Yeah.
That's what I
Is there music playing in the background?
No, actually.
Is this pre-brushing teeth or post-brushing teeth?
This is pre-brushing teeth.
Pre-brushing teeth.
I make my
well.
coffee and I have it in between my sets.
In between the sets you have your coffee. All right.
have my coffee.
So you're doing those sets. Now, do you count downwards, 199.98, or do you count upwards?
I count upwards.
You count upwards. All right.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to, for example, do less than 33 each set?
Kind of. I mean, it's really up to me. It's just
Okay.
me
So as long as
doing
you
it.
hit 100, you don't care if you do like 10,
Yeah.
10, or
So
15,
like
20.
that's how I started, right? Like when the first day I was with him when he was doing push-up, I couldn't do 5.
yeah.
And then like throughout the week it got me up to 5, and then like okay, let's do 4 sets of 5 to get 20, and
Yeah.
and then now I can do 100 in 3 sets.
Yeah. Have you ever considered like having like an OnlyFans page?
Where it's just me doing
Yeah,
push-ups.
you doing push-ups. There must be an audience who's into that kind of stuff.
I mean, I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I could try it out.
Because all you have to do is like if you can set a fixed time. All right. So this is my business proposal to you. All
Okay.
right? You have a camera. The camera is always live streaming, but only like faces one particular wall.
Okay.
You can't see nothing that's happening in the room.
Okay.
No audio, so they don't have to worry about capturing a sound.
Right.
All it knows is that every day 9 a.m. Singapore time,
I'm there doing
this
push-ups.
camera will have someone doing push-ups. Now, if you're traveling, you will find an equivalent body double or whatever
Okay.
to do that.
Okay.
And that guarantees everyone 9 a.m. And the idea is you've got the OnlyFans creeps
Okay.
and you've got the OnlyFans people who really want to be motivated.
Okay.
You get it? And they're like, and basically, and then what you do your push-ups. You do 100 of them. And then you have to be out of breath, do the whole David Goggins like, you know, and be out of breath, and then give them a speech.
Right.
My friends,
You just don't give up.
you know, I every day. I mean, I could be here, I could be in my bed.
Yeah.
But I decided to chase another day.
Yeah.
And today you did it as well.
Right.
You know, you did one of those things, dude.
I'm not against it, but I think the problem with OnlyFans, honestly, is that it's a slippery slope.
Yes.
Like maybe if you can have a bunch of people that want to be motivated, and then maybe a few creeps.
Yeah.
But I think the law of averages suggests that there will be an equal amount of these two people, but creeps are always more willing to pay money than people that want to be
So
motivated.
what you can do, because it kind of works to your advantage, like you're doing push-ups every day, okay? You're starting to get ripped.
Uh-huh.
You're getting ripped, you feel more confident in your body. You show a little bit more arm. Right? The creeps start donating more money. You get more ripped. You can buy protein powder. You get all the creatine, all that kind of shit. Now you're feeling even better because you have the six-pack. You take the top off. Then you get more ripped because now you're going to throw in some squats as well because like, all right, man, push-ups
Sure.
ain't make the money anymore.
Yeah.
You get squats, you got those legs of steel.
Yeah.
Now you're wearing the little tidy kind of bodybuilder thing.
Yeah, you see that. So that's when it becomes a bit iffy for me.
So
It's like if I'm just working out and doing my thing to get money, sure. But like if I am actually selling my body now, then it becomes. And then like, at what point do I say no? Because they're just gonna keep asking for more.
True,
right?
true, true,
And then they'll be
yeah.
like, one day, like, could you do your push-ups naked? And I'm like, fuck.
Otherwise
You know,
I would not donate
so
anymore.
It's so that's the slope that I'm kind of afraid of.
All right. Okay,
With
yeah, fair
OnlyFans.
enough.
But OnlyFans, I heard they're actually producing comedy specials in LA.
Well, for some, I'm sure some channels, whatever
they're paying like Frankie Marcos. Have you met
Really?
Frankie
No, I haven't,
Marcos?
no, I haven't.
Frankie Marcos, he comes to Singapore quite often. I think he's recording a special for OnlyFans.
Oh, wow.
And they're doing that with a bunch of comedians because I think OnlyFans just wants to diversify. They'll be like,
They need to, man. Yeah, of course. Because like everyone's like, I'm not gonna sign up for that shit. I'm
Yeah.
in trouble. Like, I have to sign up for that shit if this guy's on it.
Yeah.
dude, that would be so crazy if, like, let's say people didn't read the fine print.
and they subscribe.
Yeah, and then
it's
like
just your fucking
this guy's just
special.
talking. I mean, everyone's like, I get he's talking, but like, when's the the actual? I'm the only fan here that's listening, dude. Wow, man, that would be the day, dude.
See, I mean, if OnlyFans is out in Asia and you want to do some comedy, you can get this podcast on there.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough, man. I mean, like, for the right price, I don't know, wear Speedos. If I had
Actually,
to.
they can't see what we're wearing below our shirt. And
Well-
we're actually already in Speedos.
That's very true. I'm showing leg. I'm showing a lot of legs,
He's
dude.
showing a lot.
You know, but I'm not on OnlyFans there for no leg viewing. Maybe the day will come when I am really on OnlyFans, and trust me, there'll be a lot of hair.
There'll be one more camera pointing from below.
Exactly. And let me just say, it will be a wide angle lens.
That's right.
I make it an extra. Everything's extra wide, extra long, man. Oh, dude. Okay, so now can we get into the thing that you mentioned, your engaging thing today?
All right.
Can we get
Yes,
into that?
of
All right.
course,
This
go
will
for
be
it.
because I'm sure everyone's kind of like, we don't care about your comedy life. We're not comedians. We don't
Yep.
care about that. And be like,
Yeah.
that's for me only.
Yeah.
All right. So you woke up today.
Yep.
All right. You were like, all right, today's the day, man.
Today's the day.
This is the day I'm going to do all that shit. It's going to be magical. You know, we're going to go over there. Me and my girlfriend over here. My girlfriend for the last time, you know.
Uh-huh.
I'm done saying this word, you know. If anybody refers to as girlfriend, I'm going to unfriend these
That's
motherfuckers.
right.
They don't
Fuck
know
off, yeah.
shit, right?
That's right.
You woke up. Did you have to... Okay, let's compare it to like you doing a headliner set for the first time.
Okay.
Right? It's new material. You kind of worked it out. You workshopped it a bit. You know, you
Yeah.
know, this shall work. You talk to your friends about it. Like,
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yep.
You have to put on that game face of like, yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
Honey, you want some coffee?
Yeah. We went for breakfast.
All that shit, no big
Yeah.
deal. She's just eating. You're like, you have no idea.
Yeah. Actually,
Right.
that's what I've been doing. I've been taking like. Did you ever use Telegram, the messaging?
Oh, yeah,
app?
yeah,
So you
yeah,
get
yeah.
to send tele bubbles.
Yeah.
I would send a bubble of her to my like our mutual friend, but like, she has no idea.
Yeah.
She has no idea. She
Dude,
just-
it's like when you have the solid show
Yeah.
and you're behind the curtains watching the audience come in. They're like, you have no idea.
yeah.
You have no clue. You came in here like, oh, let's look at the program.
Yeah.
Oh, it says he's a comedian in Hong Kong. Okay,
You
this
have
is
no
interesting.
idea. Yeah.
And the best part is like when you know you've done a bit and you're like, this bit kills every time.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, all right, we're gonna get there, man. These guys are sitting there listening to me. You have no idea. In the next 5 seconds, bitch, you're gonna be laughing your
Wow,
ass off.
big
Yeah,
pop
right.
coming.
You will not see this one coming. So you left your house, all this stuff, having breakfast, everything's good, sending those Telegram bubbles every now and then.
Yeah.
All right, you get into Disney.
Yeah.
All right, you did the whole boring lineup, and did you have to?
So before that, when we were having breakfast in the Cha Chan thing, I made sure I grab a bunch of napkins. Because I know that when I pop the question, she is very likely she's gonna cry.
Okay, yeah.
So that would
be
come
ready
in
for
handy.
that. All right, smart move. Don't
That's
buy
right.
your own.
Don't buy my own.
yeah, exactly.
I'm already paying for breakfast. I'm gonna get some free
Yeah,
napkins.
exactly. It's fair enough, you know. All right. So now, at what point did you find yourself trying to over normalize? For example, you know, like you're lining up, right? And you know, in your heart you're like nervous but also excited. You know, you got that feeling, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, all right, this is gonna be good, man. It's all right, right? You know?
yeah.
But you're lining up waiting to get in, and you can't be all like, okay, we're gonna have a good time, honey. It's gonna be great, you know. You just gotta go like, oh god, look at this line.
No, so this is the one smart thing that I think I did is I bought early access.
Oh, okay.
So you get to you can buy it like I think it's like $30. You get
Okay.
to enter Disneyland an hour early
Before everyone else.
the normal people.
That is such a genius Disney plan thing.
Yeah.
We
Actually-
open at 9, but we're gonna give you an early access. Like,
Yeah.
that means you open at 8. No. For this price we do. Yeah.
No, it's I think if you live in a if you're living in a Disneyland property in one of the hotels,
Then you get early,
you
right?
get an even earlier one. You
Oh.
get 15 minutes before early entry.
15 minutes,
5
buddy.
minutes. that's
Damn,
right.
dude, let it go.
Yeah. So
Right.
So we technically even didn't even fully utilize that 1 hour pre-entry. We went for breakfast.
Yeah.
At the Chashan thing. So we got there. They opened at 10. We got there at 9:30.
Okay.
So they were like, okay, you have 30 minutes extra. You can just enter right now. And we enter in there, and I'm just like, I know that like we are not massive Disney fans, but
Yeah.
like the opportunity was there for us to
Yeah, let's
just
go.
go and check out Disneyland. So sure. And then so I was like leading up to the trip, I'm like, do you have any characters you like? Is there any place in Disneyland you like? Whatever. And she was like, she only like the only character that she kind of really likes is Mr. Potato Head from Toy Story. Right. And
You're like, that's a bit specific. Like,
it's very specific. And so I'm like, it's either I wait until I can find Mr. Potato Head
and then do it.
and then do it in front
Yeah.
of him. But I'm like, and I tried googling. I don't think he's ever
Yeah.
gonna show up. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to fill it out. Like if I feel it, I'm just gonna do it. And then when we entered it, and I just saw the castle, I'm like, this is
This is
it.
it. This is it. This
And then I'm
moment,
just
yeah.
like, nah, so I went up to one of the staff and I'm like, hey, can you just take a picture for us? And then I whispered to her, I'm actually gonna propose. Can you just
Yeah.
take a video? She's like, now? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And then I did it. And so it was nice because the castles and the view is not crowded.
Yeah.
You know, I think both of us we do get panicky when it's too crowded.
Yeah.
So it was perfect, and the fact that it happened at the beginning of the day means we can enjoy the rest of the day without me.
Yeah, thinking about it,
Thinking
like,
about
oh
it.
god, you know, she stumbled over. Oh shit!
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is the other thing though. So the friend that I was consulting, he's actually, his name is Sam Shin. He's a
Yeah.
designer. He's my friend from the army, and he's homosexual.
Yeah.
And he knows. He's just like, okay, this is one thing you gotta consider, Jacky. You can do it at night where the fireworks is up. It's gonna be very crowded. It's gonna be very messy, but also her makeup won't be as good.
Yeah, you see, you
If you do it first thing in the morning, the makeup is
fresh,
perfect.
everything's
and
good.
The video will look good. And I'm just like, okay, actually, yeah, it's perfect. And I think from the man's perspective, it's just that you got to think that proposing is one of your few trump cards where you can actually play and then have a good day.
Yeah.
Nothing can go wrong after
Yeah.
you propose. If you propose at 9 p.m.,
Yeah.
sure, maybe you go home and have sex.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like,
But
fuck
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But if
yeah.
you propose in the morning, this is the one day you can say whatever you want and
Yeah.
you can fuck up whatever.
Yeah.
It will be fine. So I like to think that it was well played by me today.
Nice, man. Smart move, man. Before everybody goes in, this is what I tell people, man. Early bird catches the worm,
That's
you know?
right. Yeah.
That's why ladies, wake up early.
That's right.
You
Do it in
never
the
know.
morning.
That might be the day your man walks out with you together and he's like, oh, hey. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, it could be. Oh, there you go. First of all, congratulations. Well
Thank you,
done.
thank you,
That
thank
happened
you.
and all that stuff. Now, that happened. You did the whole ring thing.
That's
all right.
right.
And then I'm curious now. It wasn't like you know, like how typically they have like the little sachet, you know,
Okay.
newly married, like engaged, one of those things. You know, she's walking around with the little crown and all. None of that, right?
No. Well, it
This was only for the two of you to know, not for everyone. Hey, everyone, look at us.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
It
good.
was her birthday 2 days ago. So when we entered Disneyland, they also gave us a pin to tell everyone it's her birthday.
That's
So
good.
that everywhere
yeah.
she went, she'd be like, happy birthday. And that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough
Yeah.
attention. We don't
Yeah,
need the
yeah.
extra stuff, right? The other
Exactly.
part is it's for us to know. Shut up. You know, we
Yeah,
don't need you.
exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
so you walked around and everything. Now, did you find yourself being a little bit more generous with enjoying certain things? For example, you see the snack bar or whatever. Like come on, man, let's get ice cream. You know, come on, let's get ice cream. You know, that's you know, engaged couple. Come on. You know.
This is my last night in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're taking the high-speed rail to Shenzhen.
Yeah.
So whatever Hong Kong dollars I have, I'm happy to just spend them in this.
Oh, dude, yeah, man.
So whatever it is,
So you were out there, like, let me remind you, Disneyland recorded like one of the biggest profits they ever had
Oh,
in
okay.
last year. So they probably had a lot of people doing what you did.
Oh, right.
Last day in Hong Kong, I have all these like,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
spend it all over there.
But also, I think food in Disneyland isn't crazily overpriced.
Yeah, for an amusement park. Yeah,
It is definitely overpriced, but it's not like compared to the Universal Studios in
Yeah,
Singapore.
which is ridiculous, right?
It's actually fine. It was
Yeah.
pretty fair price for whatever we've had today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
tasty too.
So you've been walking around over there. Was there a little bit of a like the hand holding happened a bit more than usual, right? Was there a bit of more of that? We're like, hey, we're holding differently now. You know, there's a different meaning behind it, right? You did that. Was the selfies a bit extra as well? Did you do a few more extra selfies because it's a
we had
special
to
day?
we had to take a few more just to make sure the ring is in
the shot.
The
Yeah.
ring that I got for her, it's so she's told me before this specific ring that she wants.
Yeah.
This is a custom made ring.
Yes.
Right. And I messaged the ring shop like a week ago. And they're like, it takes 4 to 6 weeks to make this ring.
Yeah.
But they were kind enough to be like, hey, you know what? You're going to propose? We're going to send you the sample ring that we have in the shop.
Oh.
Take the sample ring, propose to
Get
her.
that done. Yeah.
And then when you come back to Singapore, we will get the measurements and then we will...
All right, the question is, does she know it's a sample ring?
Yeah.
Oh, she does? Oh, damn it. Okay.
Because we're going to have to book an appointment for her to get the actual ring.
Okay.
So, like, before we came out here, I did a crowd work show in Singapore.
Nice.
And so the last few times I do crowd work, I always ask the audience, like, so I need to propose.
Yeah.
The house is coming. We need to this. I'm just asking for ideas. And I'm just like, I asked one audience, do you think it's cute if I just propose with like an appointment card to the studio? And then so she knows we're going to this place to get the ring she wants. And then she's just every single lady in the crowd just like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, you
no,
can't do that.
you can't
Yeah,
do
you
that.
mad, yeah.
You fucking dumbass. So I'm glad. I think it's as a comedian, I'm happy that my audience played a part in helping make today a special day for me as well. Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, I mean, you enjoyed the day. All that stuff happened. And ironically, you decided to come to the podcast directly after that. So that is
because we're going to Shenzhen tomorrow, and I, you know, I'm a big fan of you, and
thank you, man.
I'm just happy
appreciate it,
we
man.
get to spend some time.
Well,
before
there
we
you go, people. This is why you need to listen to this podcast.
That's right.
Because after proposing, Jacky decided, you know what's more important right now is to spend some quality time with Vivek.
Exactly. And his legs.
Exactly. He knows his priorities, man. But the good thing is that we'll be talking a bit more about other things, all things comedy / his proposal, whatever, special stuff on the Patreon, which will be happening in the next 2 minutes time.
Okay.
So anybody else who you think, oh, that sounded very interesting, I wonder what they'll talk about, I won't let you know until you listen to it on the Patreon. Patreon.com/HoHoPod. You can just subscribe and join in right now. Listen to what we're going to be yapping about.
How many people subscribe to the Patreon?
Muhammad knows all that stuff.
Okay.
Like as I was telling Jacky, usually the deal what I had from day one was like during the episode while we're recording, I'll be in charge of all the cameras, all the equipment, everything. I'll make sure it sounds, everything's right, and all that stuff. I'll supply with my cameras, whatever, you know.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Once we finish that stuff, I send Mo the audio recording and I give him the thumbnail for the episode. And after that, I don't know nothing about it, man.
Right.
Like you figure it out, dude. Just find the guest. Tell me when we're gonna get it done. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
So that's why he also told me to. Okay.
Yeah. That's why he was the person for all this. Like literally, people that mess me, I want to be on your podcast. I'm like, tell Mo, I am not, because I had to draw that line. You know when, like, otherwise you start and then, okay, I'll do that as well. I'll do that, and then you're screwed. Yeah, you have that.
Yeah.
But maybe for all you know, I might change things up and do it all by myself on the Patreon.
Okay.
We'll figure it out when we go over there. But Jacky, how do people follow you online?
I'm on Instagram, Jacky Ng Comedy, or you can just go to my website, jacky.sg.
Jacky.sg.
That's right.
Dude, you got Jacky.sg.
I got Jacky.sg.
Nice. Literally, anyone in Singapore like, well, I want to meet a Jacky. Oh, wow, this is the Jacky.
Jacky.sg.
Jacky.sg.
That's right.
Jacky Ng Comedy as in JACKYNG.
That's right.
COMEDY. No underscores, right?
No underscores.
Jacky Ng Comedy, otherwise Jacky.sg. Go check him out. He'll be traveling around the world. If you happen to be in Shenzhen and see someone that looks like Jacky, that probably was him. If you see him with, I don't know, another man, that's probably not him.
It's not me.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And if you see him getting his ass whooped by an MMA fighter,
that could be me.
Yeah, that's probably him. Anyway, sorry, Muay Thai, not MMA. Muay Thai, yeah, I mixed it up. Anyway, either way, we'll see you on the Patreon. If not, we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much, Jacky, for joining us over here.
Thanks for having
Everyone,
me.
check out. He is the Singapore Jacky, as in Jacky.sg.
That's right.
And he'll be back with more comedy. And if you ever travel the world and see Jacky doing a show, go check it out because it is funny.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. See ya.
Bye.